What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your friend Let's Play Crash Bandicoot 2 Part 11. We are now beginning the wrap-up, or I'm now beginning the wrap-up video, where I will talk about all the trivia and lesser-known facts about the game, and show off anything that I can that I might not have shown off before. And this is the thing I'm going to show off. You can see what the final save card looks like. Every level will have its own unique save card, or I guess save picture that'll tell you the level or boss fight that you've done. Sadly, I wasn't able to show off that many or even all of them, but I'll show you this one. I did try the for level 14 with the skill basing, where you didn't have to actually have the gym to be able, or the green. You didn't have to go along the gym path. The only thing that I can figure out maybe is hitting the, using the possum to hit it, but that would take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And it's just easier to go along the main game, do the main game by itself. And with Ruination, with the green gem, I tried it over and over. I couldn't figure out how to use the long jump, where you would use the circle jump and immediately hit the square button. It never worked for me, so I'm not sure what they were talking about there. But anyway, so now I'm going to talk about all, as I said, the trivia and everything. So I'm going to start at the top. Crash Bandicoot 2 is a platform game and the second game of the Crash Bandicoot series. It was developed by Naughty Dog for PlayStation, released in the United States of America on the Halloween of 1999. It was released on the PlayStation Network for download, so it can be played on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita. It is the best-selling Crash game of all time, with 7.58 million copies sold globally. Taking place at the Three Islands, Crash Bandicoot 2 focuses on a Bandicoot under the name of Crash Bandicoot. Crash is abducted by the main antagonist, Dr. Cortex, who has apparently turned over a new leaf and is now willing to save the world. Crash is then thrust into several parts of the island in order to gather crystals and allow Cortex to continue the power, or to contain the power of the upcoming planetary alignment to keep the planet from being destroyed. He is joined by Coco, his sister, who is suspicious of Cortex's true intentions, and partially by Dr. Nitrous Brio, who tries to convince Crash to gather gems instead of crystals in hope of destroying his arch-enemy Cortex. Story taking place right after the previous game's events, in which Crash fights Cortex on top of an airship or blimp. Cortex is defeated and the rocket sled he was standing on explodes. Cortex falls to the ground. He lands in a mine, where he discovers a large crystal and has a flash of inspiration. 1 year later, he is seen in a space station being told by his new assistant, Dr. Engine, that to harness the Master Crystal's power, he will require an additional 25 slave crystals, which are scattered across the Earth. Cortex then abducts Crash while he is searching for a spare battery for Coco's laptop, and persuades him to gather the slave crystals, telling him that he will use them to harness the power of the aligned planets and prevent Earth from certain doom. Throughout his quest, Crash is contacted by his sister Coco, who is continuously searching into Cortex's scheme and trying to figure out what Cortex is really using the crystals for, as well as Cortex's former assistant, Dr. Nitrous Brio, who tells Crash that if he truly wants to save the world, he must collect gems instead of crystals. But then Brio may use the gems to destroy Cortex, who took credit for Brio's creation of the Evolvo Ray. He is also Crash's primary opposing force, claiming to use all of his strength to prevent him from gathering crystals. At the end, when all of the crystals are collected, Coco reveals that Cortex actually intends to harness the force of the crystals to turn every single creature on Earth into Cortex's mindless slaves. With his new and improved Cortex Vortex, and Crash defeats Cortex once again, banishing him deep into space, but leaving a space station operational. After Crash gathers all 42 gems, Embryo uses these gems to destroy Cortex's space station with a laser beam, leaving the station in space until it crashes into a mysterious temple on Earth, which leads into Crash 3. Now this is the gameplay. Crash Bandicoot 2's gameplay is largely similar to that of the original. However, there are some differences. Players make their way through a limited environment while breaking crates, each of which containing some kind of bonus. Breaking all of the levels crates earns the players that level's clear gem. The player can collect additional clear and colored gems by finding and touching them. Colored gems activate secret areas. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but activate secret areas. If a player collects all the gems in the game, the secret ending is activated. Crashes several moves: jump, spin, attack, body slam, slide, duck, crawl, and an extra high jump performed by sliding or ducking and then jumping. Stepping on a question mark platform door takes Crash to a bonus level, going to a special locations where something is somehow out of place brings Crash to one of 5 secret levels. Also, if the player manages to reach a certain point in some levels without losing a single life, the player can hop onto a platform with a skull and crossbones logo on it. This takes Crash to another path in the level of the main path. It contains boxes and other secrets one might notice not being found on the main path. This marked the first appearance of the death route. There are 6 warp rooms, 25 main levels, 5 boss arenas, a bonus warp room with 3 secret entrances and 2 extra levels. Boss fights are in there's just some information here. Boss fights are in bold. There's actually a map that Naughty Dog came out with that shows you what the where the islands and what they're, which islands are where, and I'm gonna see if I can zoom in here and see if I can find out the exact locations of all the islands and all that. Alright. The exact locations of everything on here. So, as I said, the first warp room is on Insanity Island with different marks for the different locations. They don't seem to be actually going. Okay, so all the locations in the first warp room are on Insanity Island. The map that Naughty Dog drew here actually has some snow in the mountainous regions of Insanity Island, just past the waterfall. So I guess there is some snow there. And for the second warp room, they actually have all of Intensity Island under snow. So I guess winter has come to this area, and everywhere, as I said, is underwater here. And that's for the second warp room. For the third warp room, as I said before, on the ruined Cortex power plant with different locations, a little bit of snow here as well. And then the fourth warp room is where Embryo's lab is now, with a little bit of snow here as well. Up near the observatory, I would say somewhere around Lights Out and Fumbling in the Dark, that location. You can see the way they drew it. You can see the bridge and everything. You'd have to see a picture of it yourself. And then the fifth warp room is, as I said, on Cortex's station, and they have some of the spots where you see the different levels around here as well. And so that's pretty cool. If you can find a picture, this is definitely pretty cool to see. And I will show a picture of it in a later game that I'm going to do. You won't be able to see it very, very clearly or for that long, but it is. You will get to see it in another project that I'll be doing in about 2 projects away, I guess you could say. And yeah, so they got, as I said, for level 4, for the fourth warp room, all of the, digging it and behaving is actually on Cortex Island, which is actually pretty surprising. But yeah, so I'll get rid of this zoom. And then I'll talk about the other facts and all that. So, as I said, for Warp Room 1, levels are Turtle Woods, a jungle, Snow Go, snow level, Hang 8, stream, the pits, jungle, Crash Dash, a chase. Ripperoo boss on a waterfall. Snow for Warp Room 2, Snow Biz, snow level, air crash, stream, Barrett, polar, Crash Crush, chase, the Eel Deal, sewer, and the Komodo Bros boss in a circus tent. For Warp Room 3, plant food, stream, sewer later, sewer, bear down, polar bear, road to ruin, ruins, chase, polar, unbearable, tiny, boss, futuristic, space lab. The fourth Warp Room, hanging out, sewer, digging it, mountain, cold hard crash, snow, ruination, ruins, behaving, mountain, engine, boss, spaceport. For Warp Room 5, piston it away, mechanics, rocket, jetpack, night fight, jungle, night, pack attack, jetpack, spaced out mechanics, Cortex boss fight, boss in space. For the sixth Warp Room, air crash, stream, snow ghost, snow, road to ruins, or road to ruin, ruins, totally bear, polar, totally fly, jungle at night. And just some information about the themes for these levels. The jungle, these are the jungle themed levels of the game. There are 4 of them. The final 2 take place in the dark, with Crash using a flyer fire to see. For snow, these are the snow themed levels. There are 3 of them. Parts of it contain ice, in which when Crash walks on it, he gently slides while standing. The first part of these levels is 3D walking forward gameplay, which the second part is side-scrolling, and the final part returns to 3D gameplay, similar to the future levels for Crash 3. Stream, these are the stream-themed levels in the game. There are 3 of them. These levels are just like the ones from the first game, except with more enemies and detail. Chase, these levels appear Crash getting chased. These levels have Crash getting chased by a giant snowball or bear. There are 3 of them. These levels are quite like the chase levels of the first game, except in a snowy region. Polar, in these levels, Crash rides Polar in a snowy themed region. There are 4 of them, but one of them also requires Crash to get chased by a huge bear. He rides Polar in a similar fashion to the levels with the hog in the first game, which is called Crash Bandicoot, and for the next game, for Crash 3, they have a few like that as well. For the sewer, these are the sewer themed levels. In this level, Crash goes through a sewer in which he must avoid scrubbing Bubbletrons, lab assistants, and mutated animals. In some of these levels, there is a part where Crash hangs from metal wires. This was reused for some levels in Crash 3. Ruins, these levels take place in ancient ruins within platforms that break off, and there are only 2 levels. These levels are quite similar to some levels in Crash 3 as well. Mountains, these levels take place in a mountainous region filled with bees, bullet-spitting Venus flytraps, and lumberjacks. In these levels, Crash can dig in some parts of the ground to avoid 3 enemies and more, except for nitro crates. There are only 2 levels. Mechanics, these levels are futuristic themed. There are only 2 levels. He faces robots and machines while making his way through the level. Jetpack, in these levels, Crash flies around in a jetpack. There are only 2 levels. This style of level was not used again in later games. For Easter eggs in Warp Room 2, if you body slam on Polar, you'll get 10 lives. I don't think that's exactly how you do it, but anyway, so some trivia for the game. You can choose to fight bosses again on the platform in the middle of the Warp Room and press up while holding triangle. Then you'll be fighting the boss. In the North American version of this game, Tiny Tiger was misspelled as Taz Tiger in the pause screen. This was fixed in the European and Japanese versions. This is thought to be a prototype name that wasn't removed. The secret warp room is made up of ruins of Cortex Castle. This castle was destroyed in Crash Bandicoot as it is seen being on fire during the last boss fight. Brio uses it as the base for his laser beam. The secret warp room also contains the 3D models of the first two islands in Crash Bandicoot, although they cannot be seen clearly if a portal has already appeared in front of it. The third island cannot be seen since presumably you are already on it. Each warp room is based off of different level designs. Warp room 1 is based on Turtle Woods and all of the forest levels. Warp room 2 is based on Snow Biz and all the snow levels. Warp room 3 is based on Sewer or Later and the sewer levels. Warp room 4 is based on Digging It and Behaving. Warp room 5 is based on all the levels except for Night Fight. Is based on all its levels except for Night Fight. The Secret Warp Room is based on Road to Ruin and all the Ruin levels. The game introduced Nitro Crates to the series. During the Nitrous Brio holograms, remix of the Nitrous Brio boss fight theme from Crash Bandicoot can be heard. A slight goof regarding Crash's burning animation involves Crash briefly turning into his Crash Bandicoot model before being reduced to cinders. This odd glitch also happens in Crash Bandicoot 3. Strangely, the Secret Warp Room also looks like the strangely, the Secret Warp Room almost looks like the Time Twister from Crash Bandicoot 3. Here's a way to get Cortex mad at you if you play any of the levels in the first Warp Room and don't get the crystal. When you return, Cortex will appear slightly annoyed. Do this a couple of more times and Cortex will get angry. Both levels in the 6th Warp Room begin with the word totally. This game is where Crash's pink box was first seen when him and Polar run into an explosive crate, or when Crash gets electrocuted. They are also visible in Crash 3. One of Peru's books reads Crash. The Japanese version of the game features Aku Aku giving out hints to the player. This makes this game his first speaking appearance and not actually Crash 3. Coincidentally, there is an actual street in Louisiana called Engine Street. As found as Monty Hall was the original name for the warp rooms. If one takes a look at the game's coding, each warp room is listed as OBJ underscore Monty underscore Hall. The same happened in Crash 3 since it was built on a Crash 2 basis. This is a reference to the game show host Maurice Monty Halperin. This game marked the first appearance of Polar. Remixes. The main theme is actually a remix of the one from the original game. Same goes for all the character themes for everyone who's appeared in the first game: Cortex, Brio, and Ripperoo, although Brio is basically just a sped up version. And yeah, you know, there's not a whole lot of trivia for this game, or at least on this website that I'm reading. Like some of the other ones, you know, this isn't a really updated site, I guess you could say too much. You know, I'm sure there may not be any information about the game, but I would definitely say there should be more than this little bit. But anyway, so thank you for watching. Well, let me see if I can try to find some more information about it, if I can, really quickly. I don't think I can, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Now, if you look here, you know, while I'm talking, if you might not have been looking, you can see what Crash does while he's waiting in the snow levels. You know, he'll get bored, and then he will begin to shiver, and he'll try to warm himself up. Alright. Sitting here just trying to find so I'll see if I can find out some more information about Crash 2. There's, just like I said, on the website that I was reading, there's just not a whole lot about it, but it's not really it's not really a well kept up website, I guess you could say. this game was actually in, the developers actually got 32-bit hardware for this game, and the way they was able to show that off was by adding some dialogue in between the levels, and sometimes a holographic projection of a character will speak to Crash, complete with static and transparency effects, and the animations are really good. The lines are even lip-synced. This was kept for just about every other major game in the series, although this is all incredibly mundane by today's standards. It was done really well for its time. Adding to this, Crash has many more death animations than before, making it the process of losing a life less frustrating and much funnier. Yeah, there is actually a lot more death animations than in the previous game. There is actually let's see, extra crystals and gems. Let me see. So if you jump on several enemies in a row, you get bonus fruit. The more enemies you jump on, the more fruit you get until you start receiving extra lives. By doing an incredibly long combo, you will actually receive extra crystals or gems. The type of jewel you receive appears to be random. There are never enough enemies in the same level, let alone next to each other, to do this in the game, but it is possible if you use an arrow box. By jumping on an arrow box for about 5 minutes and then jumping off right into an enemy, you should hear an odd clicking sound. Press triangle and you'll see that you have received an extra jewel to make up for your wasted time. A good level to test this on is Snow-Go with the arrow box and the seal near the end. This also happens in Crash 3. Well, I'll actually give that a try. I won't actually sit here for 5 minutes and do that, but I'll go ahead and cut here, and then I'll see you after I've jumped on the box and everything. So see you in a second. Alright, so I've been jumping for about about 8 minutes now, so I'll see if this actually works or not. Make sure I get enough height. Yep, I heard the click, and there you go. You can actually get a random gem. What the? It looks like I glitched through the seals. That's weird. But anyway, so I'll see what happens when you come out of the warp room, if you actually can get the gem or not. Huh. So I guess it goes up into the air. And now I should have 43 of 42 gems. Wow, and 101%. That's actually pretty weird. I'll see if you can see the gem up on the top, up above Snow-Go. Yep, you can. You can see the gem on the roof of Snow-Go. Alright, well, that's pretty cool. But that's about all the useful trivia and all that I can talk about and show in the video. So, thank you for watching. There won't be a challenge video because this is a wrap-up video. What I will be doing for my next project is Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, which is the third game in the series and the third Crash Bandicoot game made by Naughty Dog. So until then, later everyone.